Hey, what is up guys, Claak here, and today I would just like to make a quick video for you because I've been getting a lot of questions about key bindings and macros that I do use. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you my key bindings, but I do highly recommend a Razer Naga mouse, which is right here. Right here, as you can see, is 12 buttons on the side, and what you could do is you can use those first 12 buttons as key bindings. Then you can add shift to it and make it another 12. Then you can add control to it and make it another 12. And then you can possibly go to alt. But you wouldn't need that much key bindings. That's a little bit overboard. I might have maybe 25 key bindings and that's about it. You really don't need that much. I know it might sound overwhelming, but here, let me go ahead and show you what my key bindings are exactly. Now, you can do this any way you want, but I like to do the first 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's very simple for me. And then what I like to do after that is I like to use shift 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as well. Pretty much any key binding that you see that I have, there's a shift macro for it as well. And I find shift very easy to do. I know a lot of people can even do control or even alt sometimes, but that's a little bit difficult. At least I think it's so. I think if you're a beginner, I think you should start using shift macros. That would definitely help. And when I say shift macros, I just mean adding shift plus a different key. So for this, again, I would just use shift 1, which is this right here. So my right arrow right here is actually the 6th button on my Razer Naga right here. So again, a lot of these buttons are going to be on my Razer Naga. Honestly, it makes playing this game a lot easier. I know it sounds like I'm sponsoring Razer Naga right now. I pretty much am. Razer Naga made me a way better player. It allowed me to be able to actually keybind a lot more things than what I originally was able to do especially when I was a beginner. So I have R, F. Again, anything you see right here, I have additional keybind. Shift 1, Shift 2, Shift 3, Shift 4, Shift R, Shift F. And again, down arrow is on my mouse. Page up is on my mouse, and mouse wheel up is macro, just scrolling up on your mouse wheel. Mouse wheel down right here. And for my macros on the side, I use T, Shift T, G, Shift G. And again, this is going to be 1, 2, 3 on my mouse. And then this is going to be Shift 1, 2, 3 on my mouse. And I have some more macros right here. Now, if you don't have a Razer Naga, you have to be a little bit more creative with what you keybind. So something you can easily do is you can even unkeybind your E, Q, because you don't need your E and Q right here. You don't need that, and then you could put a Shift Q, Shift E. That's 4 more key bindings right there. And you just gotta get creative. I shouldn't, me telling you a keybind that you could use doesn't really help you. You gotta literally go out on your own and try to find time to make new key bindings and practice that. That is very important. And once you learn it, you're going to be good. You can use it on any class. It's not like your key bindings ever change. So you can always transfer it to another class, and that's something that's very cool about key bindings. Now, let's go on and go into macros. Macros for any class is relatively the same. Now, as a healer, the only macros I really use is targeting macros, which is right here, is my Shift R and Shift F. I'm going to go ahead and show you the target macros for your party members. And believe me, do your targeting macros like this. You don't want to have a target macro where it targets a specific player. So, for instance, I put target player's name. So if it was me, I'd put Claak TV. That's very silly. I see a lot of people doing that. If you do that, you're gonna have to constantly change that macro when you play with different players. So I highly recommend you don't do this. I also have a bash macro, and one of the main things that I can point out as a rusher druid that you would need, having cyclone macros is very, 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 very important. Here's my cyclone macros right here: Arena 1, Arena 2, Arena 3, and basically, the people when they come up on the side, Arena 1 is going to be the very top one, Arena 2 is going to be the middle one, and Arena 3 is going to be the bottom one. Again, I strongly recommend getting used to these macros because it helps for 2 reasons. Obviously, it's going to be a lot easier to get clones off, and second, the enemy team is most likely not going to know who you're going to be cycloning because you're not targeting them. So it's very helpful. A lot of pros and rank ones obviously use this. They would not be able to function without this. Now, another little tip I can give you is you want to be putting the spells that you'd be spamming the most as the most simplest keybinding. So for instance, the easiest ones for me is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and obviously Shift 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, I wouldn't be able to function. I would have to relearn a bunch of key bindings if I didn't have a Razer Naga. I think a Razer Naga is very important. So I pretty much went over all my macros, all my key bindings I use, and honestly that made me like a 2K player to honestly like a 2600 player. It made me a lot better, and it allows you to be able to focus on the gameplay itself more, especially if you play the game a lot. So if you're struggling to focus on the gameplay of the positioning and all that good stuff, it's because your macros and key bindings are probably not the best. So if you get those fixed, it'll allow you to focus on the gameplay a little bit more, and honestly you would be a way better player than you are right now. Alright guys, that is it for this video. I just wanted to make a quick one for you guys because I do get to ask this a lot. So I hope you guys liked the video. If so, leave a like and sub button. Now get out there and pwn some nubs.